Hi, everyone. My name is Kristina Beek, and I'm here for another episode of Heard It from a CISO with Dark Reading. And today I'm joined with Sandra, and she is CISO at Zoom. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
So, I would love if you could just kind of give us a little bit of your background and just introduce yourself for us.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So as you said, I'm Chief Information Security Officer at Zoom. Let's see, I've been at Zoom for 5 years. Have been heavily focused on security assurance, enterprise security, offensive security, and then shifted into the role about a year ago. So we're just now coming up on my 1 year mark for being in role as CISO here. It's been a wild ride for sure. My background, let's see, so I started out in software development and really built up a passion for security, had an opportunity to shift fully into security about now 15 years ago. Uh,
Okay.
Moved over to Cisco and was working with started out in pen testing, like probably a lot of product security folks do, and then really just expanded my interests across red teaming and systems beyond just product security.
Yeah, awesome. So I did look up your background in terms of your education, and I saw that you have a bachelor's in, I think, computer engineering or computer science,
Mhm.
and then the same with your master's. Would you say that that background and then starting in software, that influences how you approach the role as CISO? Because I found that a lot of people come into CISO with entirely different backgrounds. And honestly, that's the case for cybersecurity in general, that like people come from like completely, totally different backgrounds. So what does that say about you?
Yeah, that's really interesting. So, yeah, I think each background brings different perspectives. What I think is particularly helpful for me at Zoom in this role, coming from the background that I do, is understanding the challenges with security when it comes to operating a tech company and how do you balance security with getting product out the door. And that's always a challenge. So, I have a good innate understanding of those challenges when you're building product. You're facing tight timelines. You've got this high pressure to get things out the door, and yet you can't sacrifice security. So it definitely creates some unique perspectives that I'm actually really grateful for.
Yeah, awesome. So can you tell us a little bit about how your experience so far as CISO has been? Because I kind of perceive it as this role that's sort of the bridge between technical cybersecurity and then the business C-suite of it all and sort of translating it to that business side. Would you say that's accurate in your experience at Zoom?
Yeah, absolutely. So the thing is that we just like everything else where you've got these requirements and you need to meet them, but then there's these business challenges and we need to be able to support the business. We try to come to look at security from the lens of how we can enable our business. So that's our one of the primary drivers for us is how do we enable the business? And we do that in a few ways. How do we make frictionless security processes that still provide really deep review of our product, ensuring that the earlier we can get involved in our product security, then the less friction there is. So that's our goal is to get involved early to build security in so that we're not coming in and bolting security on after, which causes a lot of friction.
Right.
That's just one example. How do we work with our cloud teams to anticipate to account for all the security requirements as they're building out a new data center? So really trying to focus on how do we reduce that friction and impact and enable the business to move faster while still ensuring that we're meeting all of our security requirements.
Love that. Yeah, absolutely. So you've been in cybersecurity for what seems like a while now. Um, as a woman, what has the experience in this field been like for you from your perspective? Have you seen it change throughout the years? Do you feel like it's more welcoming to women now in general or women in leadership specifically?
Gosh, that's really interesting. I think one of the things for me is that I've been extremely lucky to work at places where there has been a lot of allyship, sponsorship for women in leadership in general.
Yeah.
So I don't know that my journey is the same, that, and my experiences are the same that others may experience in other places.
Hmm.
I've had some amazing allies and sponsors who have really been super supportive, extremely helpful in sponsoring and encouraging me to push for accelerated advanced roles. So my experience has been really, really one of something that I'm very grateful for with all of the support that I've received. And at Zoom, I feel like we have really good representation from Zoom, well, from female leadership on our across our executive team.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there any advice you would give to women interested in going into cybersecurity or for women who are interested in cybersecurity leadership?
Yeah, for sure. If cybersecurity is what you're interested in, if you're interested in being a leader in this space, my absolute recommendation is 100% go for it. Do not let the fact that you are female change that. The biggest advice I'd have, really kind of for anybody, but I do think perhaps it's even more important for females, is building that network. So I think almost all of the roles that I've gotten, jobs that I've had over the last 20 years, have been through, knowing connections and knowing that there's opportunity and someone sharing, hey, you should look at this. I think you'd be a good fit. So really having that network is super important, and building that network intentionally. It doesn't just happen. You need to continue to make those connections to, especially with other women. There's real benefit to us in building that network of other female leaders in this space too.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you for that. Um, when it comes to Zoom, so I was in college from 2017 to 2021, and which was sort of part of the pandemic era.
Yeah.
And so that's where I came to know about Zoom, because it was just being used everywhere to keep people connected, whether it be work. For me, it was school. Um, so with this major uptick with the use of Zoom, during that era, I feel like also came some problems like Zoom bombing. I think it's what it's called
Sure.
these days. Do you still find that that's a prominent cybersecurity issue for the company or things related like that?
I think a lot of Zoom bombing and the challenge there was really around educating our administrators and users so that they understood what power they have within Zoom to really control the meeting and to
Yeah.
control who joins, how they join, how they show up. So I think we've definitely done a lot more in terms of educating our users to help prevent where we can.
Hmm.
A lot of that is through understanding what those configurations are that you can control. Um,
Yeah.
but any communication platform, whether it's social media or news outlets, any kind of communication platform can be abused. So it is
Hmm.
something that we're always constantly thinking about, looking at, and looking at how we build in protections and enhance those protections for our users.
Yeah, absolutely. Would you say that it's in part, the platform's responsibility to provide protections, but also the user's responsibility on their end to like practice good cyber hygiene, that kind of thing?
It's a partnership, yes. So we definitely feel that responsibility on our side. We have
Hmm.
to give you all of the options that you can leverage, and we have to make it really easy to use them. If they're
Yeah.
hard to find, people aren't going to use it. So it's really important that we do our part to make it easy to secure your meetings, to secure your communications, and really where we want to go is when what we focus on is secure by default, and then
Hmm.
giving you the option, because sometimes there are times where you need to open things up. So trying to build in that security by default, but options to open it up if you want.
Absolutely. Awesome. Going back to your background, now you have two degrees in related to this field in computer engineering, computer science. But there are a lot of different paths, education wise, that people can go into cybersecurity now. So if somebody wanted to pursue this field, whether it be, they're right out of high school, right out of college, maybe they're making a transition from a different career, is there one path that's better than another, or how would you recommend they go about that?
It's a good question. I think it really depends on what your interests are. There are a lot of paths, and there is no one right path. And if you talk to 100 different CISOs, you'll probably find 100 different paths that they took to get here. That's a nice thing about it, is that there are so many parts, and security has so many different domains, whether it's our product security, our network security, cloud security, endpoint security. There's just an endless number of areas for learning. So what I would tell people is start with where your interests are.
Hmm.
If you're interested in networking and you like to play around with routers and understanding their configurations, start there. If you're interested in software and writing code, developing code, start there. If you're interested in systems and system administration, start there. If you're interested in security compliance, so you can come in with so many paths. Start where you're interested, but then what I would encourage you is to look around and look at opportunities to bridge into other areas. I think the most important thing in the path to CISO role is getting that exposure across multiple domains. And that can be
Hmm.
hard if you're, always focused in one area. Then to bridge into those other areas can be a challenge. So continuing to ask questions, get exposure and experience in other domains, and bridge across those other domains to build that understanding and experience is really important.
Yeah, absolutely. When it comes to Zoom as a company, what are your views on artificial intelligence? How are you guys incorporating that into your Zoom products, if you are?
Yes, 100%. So, if you are asking about AI and our products,
Hmm.
we are now really following the mantra of an AI first platform. We are looking at how AI can be leveraged in every aspect of communication, and not just communication, but productivity. So, how can you go from a meeting to then using AI to do that follow up? We call it conversation to completion, where you start with a meeting, you have a conversation, you identify perhaps some action items, some follow-ups. How do you then have AI help you then do all of those follow-ups and automate that? So
Hmm.
for sure, we have a lot of AI capabilities that we're building into our products. That's one area. But
Hmm.
then we're also looking at how does AI help us with our tasks and workflows every day within security. So
Right.
some of the areas where we're using AI, I think everybody's looking at how do you build agentic AI workflows in your SOC. That's a really
Hmm.
big area for us. But really, it's looking at every single, we've kind of given a mandate to our teams to say, look at every one of your tasks and workflows that are repeating. How do you then automate those with AI? How do you have AI do those repetitive tasks so that you can really spend your time focused on the important things that require human judgment, advanced logic. How do you scale out using AI? How do you increase your capabilities? So we're looking at how we can use AI to support all of our different tasks and workflows, but then also on the other side of defense, we're looking at how do we use AI to help build out our capabilities for finding vulnerabilities, for detecting attacks, for supporting investigations and remediation.
Awesome. Piggybacking off of that, um, there are a lot of concerns, I feel like, especially with, people who are graduating today, people who are going into the workforce, where they feel they're wondering if, is AI taking my job? Will there be a job out there for me? What is your response to that?
Yeah, so definitely not anytime soon. I would say that the ways that we're using AI and that we know AI brings value is in automating the repetitive tasks that we where we really don't want to focus so that we can focus on the more important things. So that's where I continue to focus my team on is implementing AI so that you can do other more advanced work. You can increase your coverage right now as we continue to grow with number of products, just really rapid growth across our company. How do we keep up? AI is going to be the only answer for how we keep up. So AI as an enabler is really important. AI to increase our capabilities to be able to perform analysis at a speed and scale that we can't, but we still have to guide it. We still have to tell it, here's what I need you to look at, here's what I need you to do. But we still have very much human in the loop for a large portion of the really important, impactful work that we're doing every day.
Awesome. Love that. My last question, and you can interpret this however you like. What does the future of cybersecurity look like to you?
Wow. Gosh, that's a really fun thing to think about. I, when I think about how AI has impacted our industry,
Hmm.
I think that we all knew that it was coming. It's just we didn't realize the speed with which things were going to keep evolving.
Yeah.
So there's so many different things that we're looking at in terms of AI helping us identify vulnerabilities. And with you hear about Mythos and the ability to find vulnerabilities that we've never been able to find before. And the concern is, of course, what does that mean in the hands of an attacker?
Hmm.
So I think what is really interesting to me is can we get to a point where we can use AI to really build out extremely resilient systems, resilient products, so that we can really look at how do we move faster than attackers. Right now, we're always behind the ball with attackers. We're
Hmm.
always running, to try to get ahead of them, but it's a race. And so, with AI, how do we build more resilient systems that can stand up to AI-powered attacks and threats? I think that a lot of what we're going to be looking at is building more autonomous processes and workflows, again, so that we can focus on the harder problems, focus on even the more innovative solutions for security. And I think it's a really exciting time. I think we're at a real inflection point in history. I'm excited to see what AI brings to us in the future.
Awesome. I love to hear that. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me today. I so appreciate it. This was such an insightful conversation.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed it.